I'm going to go with Sam Howell because I like Sam Howell. I think he's getting severely overlooked in this draft process. Now, one of the problems is the first thing you're going to read out of him, 6'1.5". So that's an issue. 218 pounds, good size. He's quite thick, dude. He's quite tough. Like he's a tough guy. Does not like a slight dude. Like Matt Corral looks a bit slight. Ridder looks a bit slight. Sam Howell's short for a QB. He's my height basically, but he's thick. He's tough. Now he's coming off a down year because a lot of his weapons left, and part of that was he had to change his game to be. Who's turning their papyrus while I'm talking? It's quite off-putting.
Some respect on the podcast.
Yeah, digging down to sort of find their notes that are so deep. He changed his game to be a bit more of a rushing threat. Now this. I put that as a positive because he lost all his weapons and he had to be a rusher to have success, which they did. But I think you look through various. Okay, my process is I watch tape, then I watch highlights, then I read scouting reports, right? Just to see where I'm wrong and where my things differ. A lot of the scouting reports said that he bailed too much, or he was his. Hang on, what did I say? Yeah, it isn't pro ready because of his RPO scheme. I think you go back a year. Very different tape, and you see a very different quarterback. So we're looking at a quarterback here that's moldable, that's changeable, that's willing to work hard to make the offensive scheme work. Apparently, he interviewed very well at the Combine. One of the best interviews in terms of leadership and understanding what coaches wanted to see. This guy is just okay. Here's my one line summation. Fantastic passer with great field vision who reads the full field. So I think this guy's got the best field vision out of all of these quarterbacks. I think you see him go from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, check down. None of these other quarterbacks, and it's quite rare to see a prospect do that. And this guy's been doing it for several years. I think he's like from the mental side of the game, the processing side. I think he's there already. I think he's ready to go. He throws with touch, especially out to like the flats, to RBs, check downs. But he's got good overall accuracy, and even under pressure. I don't know if you watched the Notre Dame game. He had 2 rushes in his face. He took a hit and delivered a 20-yard sideline shot where only the wide receiver could get it. The guy was covered, basically. It was just an amazing throw where he's getting hit from both sides and still put it on a dime to the guy. He leads his receivers away from trouble. He gets them out. He doesn't ever ask them to make difficult throws, and he throws with anticipation. He's got nice weight in intermediate throws, and he's got really big arm for the deep shot. He's got some footwork issues, not going to lie, and he throws the ball over his head, which slows down his release. So you'd like to, but is that because he's slightly shorter? He has to get the ball up over the line, so that's the thing. But that does slow down his release, and that's that was one of the questions with Baker, who he's been comped to a lot, and I can see why. He sort of looks a bit like him, same height. And for me, the real downside is he isn't pro ready in terms of the scheme he played in. His RPO quarterback has been mentioned, so he needs to grow. But I think the fact that he's got the vision, and you see him going through the progressions, he's capable of running other schemes. He just hasn't done it. And the other thing is he needs to speed up his whole operation. It takes too much time out there. It's not like he's holding onto the ball, but everything's a bit slow. Could just be a bit more swift. Doesn't need to drop so deep, and he just needs to throw sooner, and he needs to get the ball out quicker. That's it, basically. But I think that for me is why Sam Howell is my red star.
Red star.
It's because that vision, man. You just don't see that left to right like progression reading, and he's got it, and he's been doing it for a while. So for me, he looks like everything that Mason can't do, Sam Howell does already. So give me that.
Now, can I pick up on that with you, Gav? Because I'm interested. Now, I wonder maybe if I watched a couple bad games with him now, because one thing I actually wrote down about this was he isn't seeming to process the whole field. However, he's looking up to try and throw or break out the pocket. Is it because his offensive line is horrible? Is his offensive line horrible? Because I feel like the games I was watching, he was just getting imploded on. And I didn't know if I was being fair to him with that processing element.
Basically lost his whole offense. He lost all the weapons and his line. It's just sucks.
Interesting.
Quick question. Was this in 2020 or 2021?
Which?
When he lost all his weapons and all his O-line?
He lost it after
2020. He lost everything last year.
Yeah, last year. The 2020 season was good. 2021 was bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Starting running backs, starting wide receivers.
Disagree. In terms of the O-line issue, potentially one of the most sacked college quarterbacks of all time. was sacked 47 times in 2021. He was sacked 33 times in 2020. So yes, it got a little bit worse, but he just gets himself into trouble. I looked at game statistics to see how many times he'd been sacked. 2021, Virginia Tech 6, Georgia Tech 2, Virginia 1, Georgia Tech 8. Sounds like a bloody
the football announcer.
Yeah. Duke 5, Florida State 1, Miami 4, Notre Dame 3, Wake Forest 3, Pittsburgh 5, NC State 5, South Carolina 4. I had to go back to 2019 for a game that he didn't get sacked, which was Temple. And there was one other game, which was, I think it was North Carolina, who are basically a team of high school kids who are like, oh, we get to play against good players today. And you had running backs basically walking touchdowns in. They might as well have walked backwards. They still would have scored a touchdown. The level of competition was just so ridiculously low in that game. He gets sacked all the time, and he just steps up into the pocket stupidly. I'm out on the guy massively.
Okay.
If he does that in the AFC North, he's going to get killed.
I actually wrote the exact same thing. If he runs like this in the NFL, he'll be dead meat. Now, it's funny, I actually do like that he transitioned to being a bit more of a dual threat, and I did think his running was actually pretty impressive, to be fair, Gav. I thought the way that he rushed, with like the stout frame, he's compact, he's got nice power, surprisingly great contact balance. You see the amount of times he took hits and just kind of waltzed off them. I thought that was one of the most... I almost wanted him to play running back. But it's interesting because I agree with Kets that I struggled to see that with him stepping up and just allowing pressure into his face. And yeah, I don't know. Honestly, it's funny you said Baker Mayfield, Gav, because I thought I was getting suckered into that with the frame and the look, but I was just struggling to get Baker Mayfield out of my head. I thought Howell was a little bit better with his feet, but didn't see the field quite as well as Baker, and that was what kind of where the
you didn't think he saw the field? I think he saws the field better than
Baker. That's what I mean. That's where we seem to have landed on different elements. Maybe you watched a bit more of him before I did, because you were talking about him earlier, right, as well?
Well, I watched him last year. Yeah. I mean, I like the anticipation. I like the accuracy. I just, those things I really rate highly, and that can be the death of any evaluator is over egging one aspect of a player rather than others, and that's probably my cross to bear.
I think he plays with that same chip on his shoulder a little bit that Baker Mayfield played with. That played into it as well. Does have the nice arm strength, the very nice arm, almost too nice at times again, where he's sailing balls at times.
But the deep balls, he's got some
deep
seriously
balls,
nice
deep balls. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he basically got Diami Brown drafted to the NFL, right? I mean,
who was laughing there? Who was it? Admit it. So I don't know. I must admit, I'm with Kets on this one. Surprisingly, maybe.
So you out?
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay. Rich,
I'm in on him. I like him. He's my number 3.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think he has. The tape that I saw, I watched 4 different games, and he consistently made some nice full field reads, and you don't see a ton of quarterbacks doing that. He's inconsistent at times. Bell's in the pocket sometimes when he doesn't need to. I like his anticipation, like you said, Gav. And he's a strong runner. If he has to run, if he's in a system where they're going to ask him to run, sometimes he's 6 foot, not very tall, but he's 221, so he has a little bit of size for his height. Pretty decent accuracy, I think. So yeah, I like him.
I think he's a good runner when he gets into the open field, but his sort of regularity of getting into the open field scares me without him being on the floor already.
What do you think, Mike?
I'm struggling to go in or out. I agree with the comments made about progression reads, and his work in the pocket is a bit of an issue in terms of pressure. I do massive tick in the box that he's had such a dynamic change. I mean, there was talk of him winning the Heisman at the start of the season because of how good a previous year he had. Obviously, losing all the pieces, that I'm sure that was gone by week 1. 1 TD, 3 picks, 208 yards against Virginia Tech. Fair play to him for sort of changing the game up a little bit and using his feet more. one massive criticism: he pats the ball way too damn much, and I've got that in capital letters in me wee sort of paragraph here on him. You haven't got time for that, and you're not going to have time for that in the pros. Get the ball out or run. If he's a guy that really needs to be in the right system. I know there's all the talk about Malik Willis and the system that he needs to be in. I think Sam Howell is sort of cut from the same cloth in a way where he could really excel, but it's got to be in the right system. And I do think it's one where he uses his feet a little bit in comparison with sort of what he did in 2020. I'm really on the fence whether I'm in or out. Given the fact I've been in on a few, and I'm probably going to continue to be in on a few. I'll say out just for variety's sake, but I'm really sitting on the fence with Sam Howell. He was a tough study this year, I have to say.
Interesting.
Just on some of the background, not a senior and hasn't got enough wins in terms of the golden quarterback rules. And in terms of the day-to-day stuff, significant number of parking tickets. His black Jeep Cherokee is outside UNC's practice facility all the time, and he's got a couple of $1,000 of parking fines. To be fair to him, though, and you've got to give him credit for this, he's the first into the facility, last out, goes to bed early, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. Madden is my Valentine was a phrase he used. Hasn't dated anyone in college. Didn't learn Korean. So he's got Korean heritage, right? But he didn't learn Korean as he didn't want the stress of an academic stress of a difficult course. Grew up in the area, wanted to play for UNC. Grandparents had a military background, passed that down to him. Puts in 15 hours of video work every week. So in terms of off the field stuff, ticks every box. Really good.
15 hours of video. Well, that's rookie numbers, mate. I did that this week.
I know we've done that. But
I can't call that the wide receiver.
I'm not even playing for UNC.
He watches every opponent game for the last 2 years.
Yeah, fair enough.
And notes down every down and distance.
Where is?
Have you done that this week, Si?
No, I haven't.
Have you?
I hope he gets them cut up into just defense, so
yeah, me too.
Save him a bit of time.
Where's he got this Jeep Cherokee from? That's what I want to know. How old is he?
I imagine a Jeep Cherokee dealership. I don't know. I've not got his registration and license details.
I want to know the financing details behind this.
Yeah. Has he missed any payments on his lease deal?
I've not paid any of his car parking tickets, so there's your red flag.
Sorry, so he didn't make the golden rules. Did Pickett make the golden rules? Sorry, I didn't ask.
Did make the golden rules, yes.
Ooh, yes. One thing I looked at, his completion percentage wasn't great actually this year. It was 58th with 62.5, but in 2020 it was 19th with 68.1, which is pretty high, and then 60th in 2019, 61.4. So a bit all over the place with his completion percentage. There's one guy who's consistently high, but we'll get on to him later. Everyone feel like they've spoken about Sam Howell, or does anyone else got anything they want to
say? Did we want the position for posterity, where he is in the ranking? Is Ket's jotting that down? I don't know.
Yeah, well, for me, I think he's number one. I think he's number one.
You got him at 1. I got him at 4. Yeah, I got him at 4.
5 for me.
Yep, 5 for me as well.
Rich was 5. Rich was 3, I think.
Yep.
Gav was 1. Si, what were you? Sorry.
4.